Shalom to everyone. My name is Adam Wasser from Crown Heights, Brooklyn, New York. On the issue of Tu Bishvat, the New Year of the Trees, the Hag of a New Beginning, we learn in Judaism that there are four main New Years. There are four main celebrations of a birthday. There is Nisan, the birthday of the kings. There's Elul, the birthday of the animals. There is Tishrei, which is the birthday of the new calendar. And then there is Shavuos. Shevat, which is this month, which is the birthday of the trees. We learn in Judaism that Rosh HaShanah is an opportunity to change, to ask for forgiveness to our fellow human beings, to recognize what we have done wrong throughout the year, to not towards God, but towards our fellow human beings. It says that Rosh Hashanah is not a festival, a pilgrimage to Yerushalayim, to Jerusalem, because of the idea, well, one of the ideas, that where you've lived throughout the year, that is where you're obviously going to have done, if you have done, wrong against your fellow human being. So why would you go to Yerushalayim when you have to be asking forgiveness by the people that are around you? So by doing this, it allows us to basically do what was most important in life. One of the most important things is just to be a good person to other people. Yom Kippur, on the other hand, which comes after Rosh Hashanah, is about getting forgiveness from God, trying to absolve ourselves of anything that we've done against God, and then whatever God's verdict is, that will affect us throughout the year. Now, it's interesting when you think about it that first you're trying to make peace with man, and then you make peace with God. But ultimately, in my opinion, by making peace with man, by recognizing what you've done wrong against God's children of yourself, that will show more your reality of, are you asking God for forgiveness, or are you full of crap? Doing something physical in many ways, if not always, is more meaningful and more powerful than through thought and speech. But action really is a determining factor in somebody's true forgiveness and truth. Anyways, an amazing thing when we look at Tu Bishvat, when we look at this idea of the new beginning, a new start of the year for a tree, we see that a seed, take any seed, is like sperm of a man, the seed of a man. The earth is the woman. It is the womb. You put the seed into the ground, you put this mediocre little dot into the ground, and through rain and sunshine, this seed becomes a giant tree. The seed is the man, let's metaphorically say, coming forth from the woman, the earth, towards the sun, metaphorically God. By God's warmth, by God's existence, meaning the tree, meaning the sun, the tree is allowed to grow, it is allowed to sprout. If we look at a tree, we see that the leaves are always pushing towards the sun. They're always pushing towards the light, towards the warmth. Things come to life from the sun. And we see that through gravity, through the push of gravity downwards, that the trees will lump and they'll stop growing, or they'll get to a point where they can't hold the pressure. And obviously that's like life. There's only so high that we can go. We can always push ourselves and to a limit that is beyond what we can ever imagine, but there is a limit in this physical world, like there is a limit in gravity. But interesting enough, it is the rain that in many ways is the determining factor of everything. Because you can have the sun, you can have the earth, and you can have the tree, the seed. But the seed will not grow, it will not sprout without the water. Without the rain falling, nothing's going to happen. The rain is a representation of Torah and mitzvahs. Because you can have an individual, you can take somebody, and they can be wealthy, they can, live their life and whatever they want. But if they can have everything that they dream of. But if they do not treat people in the way of Rosh Hashanah, if they don't treat people with respect and dignity and decency, your family, your friends, your wife, your husband, children, if you can't do that, then you live without Rosh Hashanah. You live in a time of gullus, of damnness. But when you live your life with Torah mitzvahs and you help people and you give charity, tzedakah, and have a family and have a life and ultimately be a good person, and learn. Always pushing yourself to a higher level spiritually, mentally, in a positive direction. You are creating the rain. You are allowing you, the tree, to grow and prosper. You allow an existence. Without Torah and mitzvahs, how would we live our lives? How would we know what is right and what is wrong? Because we say, oh, well, that's committing adultery, that's a no-no. Killing that person, that's a no-no. How do we know? Every society is different. Every culture has their idea of what is right and what is wrong. Without a structure of common law that is global, we really cannot judge what is... and I'm not saying we should judge anybody, but there is a standard of what is proper to judge. Like, we can say, well, the Nazis, and there's an extreme way of looking at it, but we could say that the Nazis, you know, they controlled Europe, and they didn't want the Jews, they didn't want the Gypsies. In Poland, they didn't want the Slavs, so they killed them. Well, that was their country. They had every right to do what they wanted in their country, because that was the law, and the Jews should be dead. So who is America, who is Britain, and the colonies of Britain to attack Germany? For what? By having an international idea that murder and destruction is wrong, we obviously know who the good and bad guys are. When we look at a place today like Afghanistan, and we say, well, you know, who are we to invade Afghanistan and take over the government and throw them out and bring in a new government that is more westernized and more... Well, yeah, in a way you could make that argument. Who are we to make that judgment of what kind of government there should be in Afghanistan? But ultimately, because we have the idea of the Bible, the Ten Commandments, the 7 laws of Noah, of not killing, don't commit adultery, do not steal, honor thy parents, establish courts and police to govern this situation, we have an idea of a basis of what is morally right and what is morally unjust. Getting back to the point, Tu Bishvat is ultimately an idea of change. It is a Rosh HaShanah of a new beginning that we have to change and start anew. Every single day of our lives we have this opportunity, but sometimes we need a reminder. Sometimes, even when it comes to a relationship, a marriage, over time that marriage can become stagnant. It can become boring because there's a lack of misunderstanding and misconnection, that both parties have gotten so used to each other that they've forgotten the idea of intimacy, and that the other partner is thinking, that the other partner is evolving and dealing with life. And sometimes, unfortunately, that's why marriages fall apart, because of that what's the word, taking for granted the situation. So we always must understand there's always the ability to change. There's always the ability to adjust. And Tu Bishvat and the other 4 New Years of the animals, the celebration of the tree, the kings, and Rosh Hashanah, then we can change. It's an interesting thing. In the Torah, we learn that every year, Shavuos, that we always give a tenth to the Kohanim and the Levim, the high priest and the sub-priests of Israel. And that if a farmer, and the land, what we're talking about is food, produce that is grown in the land of Israel, whether it's controlled by a Jewish government or not, but the land of Israel and anything that the country of Israel controls is considered land that you must give a tenth to the high priest or the lower priest. And if you don't do that, the food, it doesn't matter what you do, the produce is not kosher. Unfortunately, today in Israel, with so much secularism going on and so much desire to become like the Gentiles of Europe, more and more farmers in Israel are unfortunately not doing the proper tenth of making sure that their food is given to charity and the certain things that they have to do. And many people have to check now if the food is actually kosher, the produce is actually kosher. Why, I don't know. Like, why are we in Israel growing pigs and having pork? Like, what's the problem? We learn from across the world that pork is not good for us, and yet a Jew in Israel has such a thing that they have to eat pork because they have to be liberated. I don't know. Listen, I won't deny. I am about Tshuva, and a long time ago I did eat pork, and I loved it. It was delicious. But to allow it to control me, that I should say, well, I can't be religious, or because I love eating pork. I'm not somebody who is a slave to food. I'm not somebody who's a slave to the materialism of life, thank God. So I don't really think that eating pork really shows anything but stupidity of rebelliousness that's actually a showing of slavery. That's a different issue. Anyways, we also learn that the tree must be a certain age. I believe 4 years old, 6 years old, the tree must be before we can take the fruit from the tree. And that before this time, the fruit from this tree is not kosher. That you cannot be taking fruit from a tree that is not of a certain age. Tu Bishvat, being the birthday of the trees, means that it doesn't matter if you planted that tree and it's already, the birthday has passed after the 4th year, until Tu Bishvat, that it is not its 4th birthday, and therefore after Tu Bishvat it becomes its birthday. In the Middle Ages, the Loria, the mystic, the Arizal in Shevat, in northern Galilee, put together a mystical kind of celebration of Tu Bishvat, that is a time of celebrating and feasting, and we usually eat fruit and nuts and almonds on this day, which is the 15th of Shevat. This year of 2011, it will be Thursday, January the 19th, I believe. He put this together, and it's usually a time where family gets together and eats fruits and new fruits, and the idea that it's a new start, is a new beginning. Spring is coming into Israel now. The almond trees are sprouting flowers. It's a very beautiful time. The grass is turning emerald green across the land of Israel. Flowers are starting to pop up everywhere. It's a true beginning, a new beginning. And you could say that those on the tree, when you see the flower that comes onto the tree, that those are the children that sprout from the growth of Torah mitzvahs, the rain, the Son of God, the earth of the mother, and that the trees are sprouting of new life, a new beginning, the children. Nonetheless, it is a pleasure as always to speak to all of you. I wish you a happy and wonderful Tu Bishvat. May it be a new and wonderful year for the entire world, for the Jewish people, for Israel, Eretz Yisrael, and I wish you all the best. Amen, and have a wonderful day.